We are studying the chapter oscillators. In this oscillator, we are studying the basic requirements of an oscillator. What is the basic requirements of oscillator? For oscillator, I have told you: an amplifier, positive feedback, amplitude limiting device, and frequency control circuit. Now, first is an amplifier. You have studied this, an amplifier. Now we will study the positive feedback. What is positive feedback? When when signal from the output circuit is applied to the input, when the signal from the output of the circuit is applied to the input, it is known as feedback. If the feedback signal is in phase with input, then it is called as positive feedback. And if it is 180 degree out of phase, then it is known as negative feedback. Okay? See here. In this case, you can see here is input is this. Input is V1 is 10 millivolt. This is amplifier. This is output. This output is applied to input. This is called as feedback. Output part of output is applied to the input. Then it is again amplified. This is called as feedback. This is known as feedback. This is positive feedback. This is negative feedback. What is positive feedback and what is negative feedback? The input 10 millivolt, amplifier will get output. This output is given to again feedback through feedback network to input. So it is known as positive feedback. See here, input wave is this, and we are providing by feedback signal is the same. It is same signal. It is not 180 degree signal. It is same signal. VF is plus 5 millivolt. इसमें से प्लस 5 मिलीवोल्ट इनपुट को दे रहे, वो अगेन एम्पलीफायर का आउटपुट से भी इनसे इनपुट ऐसा होगा. यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे है ये इनपुट है 10 मिलीवोल्ट. यहाँ पे इनपुट वेव ऐसी दी है, साइन वेव दी है. ये साइन वेव एम्पलीफायर में एम्पलीफाइड हो जाएगी, फिर आउटपुट पे लेगा. फिर पार्ट ऑफ आउटपुट इज 10, आउटपुट इज 10 वोल्ट. देन पार्ट ऑफ आउटपुट इज गिवन टू द इनपुट to the feedback network. This feedback network is we will give you minus 5 millivolt. Minus 5 millivolt means it is negative feedback. We are giving this sign, we are providing to feedback this negative sign, means it is 180 degree out of phase with input. This 180 degree out of phase with input. So it is called as negative feedback. Okay. Now, positive feedback plays an important role in oscillator circuit. The amount of feedback is very important. Amount of feedback is very important. कितना फीडबैक दे रहे हैं बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इट अफेक्ट द एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ ऑसिलेशन. ये एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ ऑसिलेशन को अफेक्ट करता है. फिगर शोज दिस एक्शन. नाउ Vin is the input to the amplifier. Vin is input to the amplifier. V1 is the initial signal. An amplifier with gain A. Amplifier with gain A. And feedback factor is beta. Okay. Now we will see the amplitude limiting device. Third is amplitude limiting device. It is done by both feedback and amplifier. Barkasian criteria of oscillation gives the condition for sustained oscillation. This figure shows the effect of A into beta, means A beta, on amplitude of oscillation. In the figure you will see effect of A into beta on this oscillation. A into beta on this oscillation. Okay, you can see A into beta. You can see if A into beta if A into beta is if A into beta is less than 1, then it will produce damped oscillation. If A into beta is less than 1, it will produce. If A into beta is less than 1, then it will produce damped oscillation. Damped means first there are most cycle is very high, then it will come lower up to the this. This is called as damped oscillation. If A into beta factor, A means gain, B into beta. Okay. If A into beta is greater than 1, then it will produce growing oscillation. This is growing oscillation. The oscillation are growing, so it is called growing oscillation. If A into beta is equal to 1, then it will produce sustained oscillation. This is sustained oscillation where we will get. Okay. And the fourth, frequency control circuit. Frequency of an oscillator is controlled by LC tune the circuit. In LC oscillator, frequency of an oscillator is controlled by LC tune circuit in LC oscillator and by RC component in RC oscillator, because for F is equal to frequency F is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi r root of LC for LC oscillator, and F is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi r RC root of 6 for RC phase shift oscillator. Okay. Now we will see we have completed these four things now. I explain you what are these, the basic requirements of oscillator. These four are basic requirements of an oscillator.